When it comes to the NBA, the stupidity exhibited by general managers and front offices all throughout the league absolutely astounds me. These ass clowns sit here and make the same mistakes over and over and over again, and the results are always the same, yet they keep making the same flippin' mistakes over and over and over again, expecting anything to change. It's like the Cleveland Browns in the NFL every 2 years. They're hiring a new head coach and general manager, firing the old head coach and general manager. And then after 2 years, they do it again. And then sometimes after 1 year, they do it again. And then they do it again. And they wonder why their team consistently misses the playoffs. If you don't have that stability in the front office, if you don't have that clear vision and that clear direction, especially from the front office and from the head coaching position and the coaching staff as a whole, you're going to have problems. And this is one of my biggest problems with the NBA today, besides the ridiculousness of free agency and the salaries and how the whole salary cap situation is playing out in the NBA, which I'll talk about plenty in the weeks to come on this channel. It's the fact that so many NBA teams sit there and run through coaches like they're freaking water. 1 year, 2 years, hell, you're lucky to see 3 years, and then you're gone, and then it's right back at the same cycle. 2, 3 years later, you fire that bum, and 2, 3 years later, and it goes on and on and on. And yet so many of these teams wonder why they're not more competitive. So many of these teams wonder why they're not making the playoffs every year. So many of these teams wonder why they're not getting any better. It's because of bullshit like this. And a perfect example of this is the freaking Milwaukee Bucks trading for the Nets head coach, Jason Kidd. Why, oh why in the bluest of blue hells would you want to sit there and trade for Jason Kidd? This is the same Jason Kidd, mind you, that besides his clearly demonstrated aptitude to be able to beat women during his playing career, was known as a bit of a headache, known as a malcontent, known as a coach killer, known as a guy that pouted when he didn't get his way and would exert his force and make life a living hell for everybody involved in the organization if he didn't get his way, up to and including him being traded out of freaking town. This is a pattern of behavior he demonstrated consistently throughout his NBA career. And now, after his playing career is over, for some inexplicable reason, he is instantly giving a head coaching job for whatever the fuck reason by the Brooklyn Nets. And this was going to work out, and this was going to be a good thing. It ended up being an unmitigated disaster. You could say, well, they made the playoffs. How much of a disaster is that? Did you watch the Nets much this year, especially the first half of the season? Jason Kidd was a clown. Ding dong, dumb dicks. The guy is in over his head. Just because he's one of the great point guards to ever play the game does not immediately translate to him being a successful head coach in any way, shape, or form, nor did he necessarily pay the dues required to understand how to properly be a head coach. If you were hiring Jason Kidd to get your head coach fired, then he's perfectly suited for that. But to be a leader of men as a head coach in the NBA and deal with other egos like he used to be the problem for other head coaches during his playing career, he was clearly unsuited for that. The Nets went and had a mediocre season. I think they won 44 games, made the second round of the playoffs, and whoop-de-skip, they were gone. They were done. And it was a disaster. And you could see it coming unless you were a complete and total moron. Well, apparently, the Milwaukee Bucks are indeed complete and total morons. Why in the hell would you want to trade for a guy? I don't care if the price wasn't very much. Why would you trade to get somebody else's head coach who had one season and it was a mediocre season at that? Bringing in a guy who, part of the reason that Brooklyn wanted him out of there was because, surprise, surprise, he was trying to make a play for more power in the front office. Imagine that, Jason Kidd trying to throw a fit and exert some power to try and get his way. All of his years as a player, he never demonstrated that ability to do so, right? Ding dong, dumb dicks. This is a pattern of pathetically predictable behavior from Jason Kidd. And now the Milwaukee Bucks have decided that this is the guy that you want coaching a young team that's going to struggle for the next couple of seasons, a young rebuilding team. You want him around your young talent? You want him around your young stars? Why in the fuck would you do this? And why would you sit there and think that firing one guy after a very short run as head coach and trading for another guy after he only spent 1 year here is going to do anything other than create that cycle where 2 or 3 years from now, either Jason Kidd is going to sit there and force his way out, or you're going to get so sick and tired of his bullshit that you're going to force him on the way out. It just goes to show you, man. These NBA front office people, these GMs, these executives are fucking stupid. Ding dong, dumb dicks. Wake up. Stop doing this stupid crap.